Okay, hello. Today our learning goal is I can use the formula for the Pythagorean Theorem to find distances on a coordinate plane. Okay, so distances on a coordinate plane can be something that is important depending on what your job is. And so let's look at, and I'm going to show you a way that it can get used after I do this, okay? So here we go. I suggest that you get your formula chart out. I know that you probably can say this in your sleep, but the reason I say this is because I want you to remember it is here for you under additional information, the Pythagorean Theorem. It is right here. It says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And remember, sometimes you're going to be finding C, sometimes you're going to be finding A and B, and that's why it's important to be able to identify those parts. So I don't want to make this video too long, so here we go. Warm-ups. Use the graph to answer questions 1 and 2. Plot the pair of points, -2, 2. So always start at the origin, always go left or right first, then up or down. I know some of you always want to go up or down first. Don't do that. Get out of that habit. So we need -2, which is on the x, and then up to 2. So I'm going to draw a point right there. Okay? Then it says and 2, 5. So I'm going to go back to the origin, okay? And then I'm going to go over to the right to 2, and then it says up to 5. So then I'm going to put a point here. It says connect the points to form a line segment. So all I'm going to do is connect the points. And it says, what is the length of the line segment? So they want to know what is the length from here to here. You cannot count a diagonal line on a coordinate grid. It won't work out, I promise you. Okay? I know you think it will, but it won't. All right? So the way we can do this is to do this. Let's finish off a right triangle. Oh, and I could have done it this way, or I could have had those 2 points like this, had a line segment, and I could have done it this way. Either way will work, okay, as long as I draw the right triangle, okay? So then it's very simple for us. We're going to identify the right angle. We're going to draw an arrow. That tells us that this is C, that they want to know what is C. I'm just going to identify A and B. Remember, A and B are interchangeable. I'm going to do a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Okay, well, I've got to count the segments. So I need to count from this point to this point. 1, 2, 3. Since it's a straight line, I can count it. So A is equal to 3. So I'm going to do 3 squared plus, what's B? 1, 2, 3, 4. So B is equal to 4. So plus 4 squared is equal to c squared. We've been through this before, but I'm just going to put it in my calculator. 3 squared is 9. Plus 4 squared is 16. Is equal to c squared. 9 plus 16 is equal to 25. So 25 is equal to c squared. And remember, we don't want to know the area of the square that is off of that side length. We want to know the actual side length. So we need to undo the square. So we're going to hit second square root, 25, get out from underneath the square root symbol, and hit enter. So square root it, and you get c is equal to 5. Now remember, I require you do this step and this step every time, okay? I also require that you write A, B, and C. You identify your right angle. You draw the arrow to C. If you do not do those things, I will not give you credit. There is a shortcut. Remember I taught you? You could put second square root, 3 squared plus 4 squared. Now, if you use the power up button, you're going to have to make sure that you get out of being in exponent land, what I call, and I'll show you what I mean. So now we're going to get out from underneath the radical, and I can hit enter, and it's 5. Some of you are in the habit, the only time I use the power up button is if I'm to the power of 3 or more, or 0, if I need to use to the power of 0, okay? So watch this. Second square root, 3 to the power of 2. Do you see how that arrow has me up there in exponent land, is what I call it? If I was to then hit the plus sign, do you see how it doesn't put it in correctly? So when you do that, I'm going to delete that. You have to make sure, if you use the power up key for squared, you have to make sure that you hit arrow out and it will move your cursor down. So be careful. That's why I say if you're squaring something, just use, if you're taking it to the power of 2, just use the x squared button. Okay, so you don't make that mistake and get it wrong. Because if I was to go back, let's see if I can delete, if I was to do plus, then I put in my 4, and then I put in squared, and I got out of there, and I hit enter. Look at, I get a completely different answer, don't I? So be careful of that, all right? All right, number 2 says, on the graph paper above the plot, the pair the points. Okay, so we can use the same paper. We're going to use the same grid. I've got 5, -4. So you always start at the origin, then you go over to 5 and down to -4. Okay, then it says -4, 1. So then I'm back at the origin. I'm going to go over to -4 and I'm going to go down to 1. Okay. All right, so then I am going to draw a line from here to here, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You can use a ruler if you want, but I'm telling you, it's just easier to get it done. Okay, now I can draw up and over, or I can draw down and over. Okay, either way is satisfactory, but since this is all up here, I'm just going to draw, let's see, I would need to draw to here, so I'm going to draw down and over. Okay, so now I have my right triangle. Remember, you need to identify the right angle. Draw your arrow over so you identify C. And it says, what is the length of the line segment? There it is. And so in this circumstance, when I'm drawing them, it's always going to be C. So I've got A and I've got B, but now I need to find out what A is equal to, what B is equal to. So you always start at your point. You don't count until you lift your pencil. 1, 2, 3. So A again is equal to 3. Now we need to count B. I'm going to start right here in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So B is equal to 9. I do my A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Then I do 3 squared plus 9 squared is equal to C squared. Remember, that is the minimum I require before you put it in your calculator. I'm going to show you the long way because some people are just more comfortable with it. So 3 squared is actually 9 plus 9 squared is actually 81 is equal to C squared. 81 plus 9 is equal to what? Everybody know? Everybody know? Did I get that right? Hold on here. It is 5, -4, and -4, 1. Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. So then I've got a different set of notes, I guess. So 9 plus this is 89. Nope. It's 90, isn't it? So 9 plus 81 is 90 is equal to C squared. I'm going to take the square root, and I do second square root, 90, and I get C is equal to 9.486, blah, 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 blah. Most of the time, they're going to ask you to round it to the nearest tenth. So if I wrote it all out, do you see how I've got all those numbers? I'm going to write 9.48. And if I need it to the nearest tenth, that would change the score to 9.5 is equal to C. Okay? I don't know how I ended up with a different set of notes. Very interesting. All right, let's go here. Okay? All right, point G has coordinates of -4, 7. So -4, +7. There again, did you see I started here, went over to -4, went up to 7. And this is point G. Point H has coordinates of 3, so go over to 3, and 0, so I don't go up or down, okay? And that is point H, okay? So I draw my line segment, and now I just draw the rest of my triangle. For me, I just like drawing down and over, but it depends upon what's the situation, what's the graph look like. You could draw up and over. It would be perfectly acceptable. You're going to get the same exact answer. So I'm going to draw my right arrow because it's off of my right angle is off of my 2 legs. I know that you say, oh, I've done this a million times, Miss Boys. Why do I have to keep doing it? It's because I said so. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to count. I'm going to just identify this as A and B. It doesn't really matter. This could be B. This could be A. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So A is equal to 7. Then I'm going to count this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So B is equal to 7. Ooh. All right, so I got A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Minimum 7 squared plus 7 squared is equal to C squared. This is why I ask you to do this, because then when you're having problems or if you miss something, I can see, was it because of what you put in your calculator, or did you get the numbers wrong? That is why I want to see those 2 steps, okay? I'm just going to hit second square root, 7 squared plus 7 squared, get out and hit enter, and I find that C is equal to 9.8994, blah, 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 blah. Let's look at our answers. Which of the following best described? So that means you want which one is approximate. Well, 9.6 is too small. 10.2 is too big, 10.8 is too big, but 9.9, do you see how the 9, remember 5 or more, change the score, so 9.9A. We're going to do one more and then we're done, okay? All right, look at point A on the grid. Point B is 5 units, so they gave you point A. Now they want you to go 5 units to the left, 8 units down. Kind of 5 units to the left, 8 units down. So I'm going to start at point A, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I do that right? Let's try it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I did. And then I have to go down those still 8 units, so I shouldn't have put it out there, but I did that just so I remember where it is. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So actually it's right here. That is point B. And do you see by putting that dot there? Look at that. I made the spot where I need to draw my triangle from. Isn't that pretty cool? Okay. So it says to the nearest tenth. All right, I hope you all know. Let's review this real quick. You got your ones, okay, those are your dollars, all right. Then you get a dot. That's your decimal point. Now, when it says the tenth, it's not talking about tens, which is over here if you had $10. Then it says tenths. Then it's hundredths. I know, hundredths, okay. So we need to round to this spot right here, which means we need to look at this one and go back and change the score or let it rest, okay? So remember, decimals, always think of them as money, because you all know money, believe me. So let's do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now we need to figure out how much these are each worth. I'm going to do A and I'm going to do B. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A is equal to 5. B, I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. B is 8. Do you notice that I count lines, not spaces? Some people count in the middle, like in the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where it gets you in trouble, when it was like right there and you forget that that's a little tiny space, and that's why you want to learn to count lines. Okay? So that's 8. So I get 5 squared plus 8 squared is equal to c squared. I'm ready to put it in my calculator. I'm going to put second square root. Remember the square root key? It undoes a square, so it's right on top. And I've got what? 5 squared plus 8 squared. Get out from the radical sign or the square root sign and hit enter. And I get 9.43. So that's as far as I need to go in order to decide, because it said to the nearest tenth. So I need the first digit after the decimal. So 3 is that 5 or more? No, it's less. So 5 or more, change the score. 4 or less, let it rest. So it would be 9.4 that I would be at. Now, to the nearest tenth of a unit, what is the distance? Oh my God, it's not here, is it? Make sure I counted this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oop, it's right. So we got a problem here, don't we? I'm just going to choose the closest. I'm going to scratch that. I'm going to put 9.4. Ooh, and there we go. There's our answer. Okay? All right. And we're going to take that as our answer. Today you have 10 short problems that you are going to do. Okay? And they are just like what we are talking about. Some of them have the points on them. Some of them you're going to have to put the points on. And then after that, this is something that you would use. I know I'm not prepared here, so I'm going to find it here. Let's see. This is something that you would be using it for, and it's finding distances using maps. And I am going to have that available next to my desk, so once you finish this, you will be using a map, and you will be finding distances between cities. And it is a map of the United States. I'm sorry, I don't have one right here on my table with me. I should have. But I will have them next to my desk, and you will, after you finish this 10 questions, you will be doing that. Have a great day.